So I actually got a hat trick this time, so it's the third time in a row I've been given an SUV from Europcar. So today they've given me the Forester. I originally booked the Nissan X-Trail, but they gave me the Forester. They gave me a few choices of some other cars, but to be honest, there wasn't really much cars I hadn't driven before, so I decided to take the Forester, which I've also had before. So again, I find the Forester pretty similar to all the other SUVs in its class, where look, on the road it's a very smooth car. They've all got very similar options, so I kind of think when talking about the SUVs, the mid-size SUVs like the Hyundai iX30, you've got the Kia, you've also got the new Holden Equinox, you've also got the Mitsubishi Outlander, the Mazda X5 in that sort of group of cars that they're all quite similar. So it's not the X5, it's a CX5, sorry, the Mazda. Where I think the Mazda's a standout because its interior is a bit nicer than some of the others, but it is also a bit more expensive. So just talking about some of the features that this Forester has. So it's got the side assist here, so obviously alerts you when you're coming, like when another vehicle's coming in your blind spot. There, it's also got the front assist here, so it will start beeping at me if I'm coming up to a car too fast, and it'll go, depending on how close I am to that car, it will start with like orange lines coming in the screen in front of me, and then they'll start to turn red as I get even closer to the car. One of the things I've noticed with the steering wheel, there's buttons down here which are for the trip computer, which look like they're kind of an afterthought. They look like, obviously they couldn't fit them here on the actual steering wheel because there's a heap of other buttons here, such as the cruise control and the radio buttons, but it kind of just seems that it's just an afterthought and it's just sort of bolted on here, so that looks a bit strange here. It's got Tiptronic on it, like the flappy paddle gearbox here, which it's an SUV, it's not a sports version, so I'm not sure why they really need to put it there. You've obviously got all the basics like the electric windows here. The two front windows have like auto down, so that's for the passenger and the driver, so they can automatically go down. The mirrors do flip, but I haven't figured out the settings yet, so I know there's a flip setting here. When I closed the car they didn't flip, but when I came back to the car after an hour they were flipped, so I don't know how that really works on it. The center console screen here is fairly basic. You've got your Apple CarPlay, and I'll talk a bit about more of that and some of the options on it. One of the things I really find annoying about this car, and it keeps on getting me, is even though it does have the blind spot sensors, what I do like to do is obviously still check, because I'm not completely trusting that technology. And when you look on the left here, there's this weird angle, and I'll show you now on the camera, out the side rear there, which sort of steeps up at an angle there, and in the corner of your eye when you're looking at it, it kind of looks like another car, and every time it just gets me. I'm thinking there's another car there, so it's a kind of a weird design there, and quite confusing. And I've realised I've forgotten to put the back seats are down, so it's probably not as obvious there, but it is just, it gets you a bit out of line, so it's a strange design element of it. As I said, the ride is really good in the car. I feel pretty much standard across most of these SUVs. I've got a good ride on it. I feel the power's not too bad on it actually. It feels a bit quicker than say an iX30, a bit quicker than the Kia, on par with say the Outlander, and on par with the Equinox, which has got the 1.5 litre engine, and not the more powerful Equinox, which is actually a lot quicker, and I think it's the leading car in its class for acceleration. But it definitely doesn't feel underpowered at all. Obviously, being a Forester, you've got heaps of different like areas for cup holders and things like that, and then obviously different things like your sunglass holder and things like that here. The air conditioning ducts here, quite interesting. The Equinox I had the other day, it's pretty much on the side ones here are identical to that Equinox. So I don't know if one's copied the other or what's going on there. But yeah, in general, I guess if you like the look of the Subaru Forester, I think it'd be a nice car to drive. It's plenty of room in the back for a family and things like that. I'm sitting here cruising like 110, and it just drives quite nicely on the highway here. And as I said, it doesn't feel underpowered at all. I personally don't love the look of the Subaru, so it's not my type of car that I'd buy, but Other than that, as I said, it's definitely competes on par, if not better, than some of the mid-class SUVs that I've driven before. So and obviously very practical with the roof racks. You can throw things on top of it. The seats are really easy to get down. They go completely flat, so you know, if you've got no one in the back, you can put a lot of stuff in the back there. And obviously the all-wheel drive system in these are pretty good. I mean, you wouldn't be doing, you know, crazy off-road stuff with them, but you can do, you know, dirt roads and maybe take it on some sort of not so thick sand and things like that. So yeah, no thanks. And what I'll do next is I'll jump out, stop the car, jump out, and sort of take you around the car a bit. Okay, so let's take a look at the Subaru Forester out the outside of it. So that's the side of it there. I think there's 6 17-inch wheels it's got on there as standard there. Just taking around the back there. This is just one of the more the basic models of the Forester. So just one exhaust there, the all-wheel drive badging there. And just take you around the other side here. Well, I'm not trying to in the deep grass here actually. See some damage on the front of this one. When I picked it up, it wasn't me, it was just, it already had that damage on it. Just look at the front, you can see it's got the 2 cameras there at the top, just in between the rear view mirrors there. That's for like the collision assist and things like that. Front, it's got obviously the Subaru front grille there. For me, I think they're an okay looking car. Nothing super special. What I'll do now is just take you inside the car so we can have a look at it. So we've got the seats there, fairly plain seats, reasonably bolstered, steering wheel with a whole heap of different options there, and then just the center console there. Just turn the car on and we can have a look at the trip computer there. It's got Apple CarPlay here. Obviously I don't have the phone plugged in now. So the menus, you've got sort of a phone menu here. It doesn't read my device yet, but it's just a list of numbers there, and the options there for the phone menu. Then you've got, go back to the home here. We've just got the settings there, different driver profiles, the color of the screen and things like that. You can add some shortcut buttons there. Radio, this has a digital radio in it as well there. Back to the home, you can obviously plug different media devices in, so the media button there, and then there's some apps there. So that's obviously the CarPlay app. So once the phone's plugged in, then just above it you've got that other compute there, you can sort of see there, which is just shows you sort of the fuel and that. And I think it's, at the moment I've been driving a few hundred kilometers and it's still showing 630 kilometers till empty, so I'd say it's fairly fuel efficient there. So what I'll do is I'll go out and jump in the back seat and then just show you the room in the back seat here. I'll turn the car off while I'm at it. Okay, so it's got the privacy tint, which is just a bit darker rear windows there. Heaps of room in here, so more than enough room. I think you could comfortably sit 5 adults. You've got some jacks there for charging, 2 USB ports there, which is quite handy, I think, if you've got kids and children in the back. You've got the fold down seats here, which I can't figure out. Oh, you just lift the button to fold down, but I'll take you in the boot and just show you what the room's like in there. So this is just a manual boot here. So you've got a reasonable size, definitely not as big as the Outlander, probably pretty similar as the Equinox, which I've driven before. Actually this one doesn't have any power. Oh no, it does have a power point here, jack, like a 12-volt jack there, which most of these SUVs do have in it. You can fold the seats right flat down there. So if I can try and do it from here. So as you can see there, it gives you fair bit of room. It's a bit hard with the cargo blind there, but you can see it gives you a lot more room. Then they come down quite easily there. This model doesn't have, is only manual close, so no automated close here. And yeah, so that's the Subaru Forester there.